Genesis 37. But Jacob lived in the land where his father had stayed in the land of Canaan. This is the account of Jacob. Joseph, his 17-year-old son, was taking care of the flocks with his brothers. Now he was a youngster working with the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wives. Joseph brought back a bad report about them to their father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his sons because he was a son to him late in life, and he made a special tunic for him. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated Joseph and were not able to speak to him kindly. Joseph had a dream, and when he told his brothers about it, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. There we were, binding sheaves of grain in the middle of the field. Suddenly my sheaf rose up and stood upright, and your sheaf surrounded my sheaf and bowed down to it." Then his brothers asked him, "Do you really think you will rule over us or have dominion over us?" They hated him even more because of his dream and because of what he said. Then he had another dream, and he told it to his brothers. "Look," he said, "I had another dream. The sun, the moon, the 11 stars were bowing down to me." When he told his father and his brothers, his father rebuked him, saying, "What is this dream that you had? Will I, your mother, and your brothers really bow down to you?" His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept in mind what Joseph said. When his brothers had gone to graze their father's flocks near Shechem, Israel said to Joseph, "Your brothers are grazing the flocks near Shechem. Come, I will send you to them." "I'm ready," Joseph replied. So Jacob said to him, "Go now and check on the welfare of your brothers and the flocks and bring me word." So Jacob sent him from the valley of Hebron. When Joseph reached Shechem, a man found him wandering in the field. So the man asked him, "What are you looking for?" He replied, "I am looking for my brothers. Please tell me where they are grazing their flocks." The man said, "They left the area, for I heard them say, 'Let's go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Dothan. Now Joseph's brothers saw him from a distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. They said to one another, "Here comes this master of dreams. Come now, let's kill him, throw him into one of the cisterns, and then say that a wild animal ate him. Then we'll see how his dreams turn out." When Reuben heard this, he rescued Joseph from the hands, saying, "Let's not take his life." Reuben continued, "Don't shed blood. Throw him into the cistern that is here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him." Reuben said this so he could rescue Joseph from them and take him back to his father. When Joseph reached his brothers, they stripped him of his tunic, the special tunic he wore. Then they took him and threw him into the cistern. Now the cistern was empty. There was no water in it. When they sat down to eat their food, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were carrying spices, balm, and myrrh down to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, "What profit is there if if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. but let's not lay a hand on him, for after all, he is our brother, our own flesh." His brothers agreed. So when the Midianite merchants passed by, Joseph's brothers pulled him out of the cistern and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. The Ishmaelites took Joseph to Egypt. Later, Reuben returned to the cistern to find Joseph was not in it. He tore his clothes, returned to his brothers, and said, "The boy isn't there. And where can I go?" So they took Joseph's tunic, killed a young goat, and dipped the tunic in blood. Then they brought the special tunic to their father and said, "We found this. Determine whether it's your son's tunic or not." He recognized it and exclaimed, "It's my son's tunic. A wild animal has eaten him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and daughters stood by him to console him, but he refused to be consoled. "No," he said, "I will go to the grave mourning my son." So Joseph's father wept for him. Now in Egypt, the Midianites sold Joseph to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officers, the captain of the guard. All right, so I posed the story. Would you sell your brother? Like just no, don't say your brother. I mean, like, you're in this story. You're in this story. This is what your brother keeps doing. He is the most loved of all the brothers, and you're like, what do we chop liver here? Like, we're the ones that do all the work, and he gets to do nothing, and he's always rubbing our face in. He has these dreams. Dad loves him best. You can see where he riles their anger up, but we'll go through it. Okay, so when it says this is the account of, this is the telling of. So, it'll say these are the generations of is how some older translations, but it's the life story of the people. So we're starting a new section here. Even Dad is like, hold up. Yeah. Dad's even like, you're laying it on thick here, boy. So Jacob lives in a land where his father stayed in the land of Canaan. And then here's the account of Jacob. So we have a new section. That's what these are. They're a new section of telling of the story. So we have different ones. There's the account of the heaven and earth. Here's the account of and I don't remember where all of them are, but it goes through, and we get genealogies often. So some people just think, oh, it just means genealogy. No, it's the telling of the tale of. I mean, Cain killed his brother. Yeah, but would you sell your brother? Okay. So Joseph is 17. What do you have in the footnote here? A son of 17 years, the son as apposition to the name Joseph. Okay, they're just explaining the grammar there. That's all they're doing. So he's was taking care of his flocks. Now, he was a youngster working with the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wife. Joseph brought a bad report back about them. Okay, so not Leah's wife or sons, not the 6 prominent ones, but the other 4 boys. Bilhah and Zilpah both had 2. So those 4 over there and him, they're caring for it. He brings back a bad report. So he's a tattletale. He's a goody two-shoes, whatever name you have for the little brother that always gets you in trouble. That's what he is. Jonathan's probably your favorite character, Shy? Yeah, he's a good character. Zacchaeus, welcome in. Shy, you're asking what bad things he did. It's not that he's doing bad things. He is giving he's giving cause to his brothers to dislike him. So it's not that he did anything. That's why I said goody two-shoes. He's giving a bad report. So maybe it was the care that his brothers took. Maybe they were careless. It doesn't matter. whatever it was that they did that was not up to the standard that Jacob probably had, he's telling on them. Like, they left the sheep for a while unattended, or they didn't make a good campfire, they didn't put the fire out afterwards, or they left it unattended, like, or whatever it is. He is giving a bad report about his brothers tending the sheep when he's with them. So he's establishing that he gets his brothers in trouble with dad. Now, Israel loved Joseph more than all his sons because he was a son born to him late in life. Well, okay. Shy, I do not think that he is at this point. I think he changes to that. Here, I think he is self-centered because dad lets him be self-centered. He thinks the world is going to revolve around him. He is not humble. He is arrogant. And we see that in the story. Okay, a son of old age was he to him. The expression means a son born to him when he was old. So this is why Joseph loves him, is because he is a son of old age. That's the reason. But there's got to also be some level of it is a son of the wife that he loved most. I mean, there's got to be a connect. Oh, no, Jonathan? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not talking about Jonathan here. I'm trying to talk about Genesis. That's where we're at. So dad doesn't help the circumstance here. He gives him a special tunic. When his brothers saw that he loved him more than anything, they hated Joseph and were unable to speak to him kindly. So Joseph but they make sure that they tell us Joseph's behavior prior to the coat. So Joseph has already established himself as a tattletale. That's what I'm going to keep calling him. I'm better than you guys are. A very braggadocious kind of guy. And dad gives a special coat to show off his special love for his special son. They're just telling us that Joseph is added to clarify they hated him. Yes. They were not able to speak to him. Okay. I don't think we needed it. Okay. So we've got the setup. Now Joseph has a dream. In the dream, they're out in the field and they are all cutting the grain. So sheaves, I don't know if you ever stood them up. The wind will blow them over, or just gravity will pull them. They're no longer standing stalks. They're bound together. They fall over, but not just by happenstance. His is in the middle, and they all surround his, and they all bow down. Now, notice in this one, it is just about his brothers. He is there. His brothers are there. And they're like, are you going to rule over us, bro? Is this what you're trying to tell us? Like, he's interpreting the dream. He absolutely is saying that. It doesn't tell us in the text, but why are they coming to that conclusion unless that's the way he's telling the story? And yes, we know that's the way to be understood in the end. So yes, he is indeed doing this, saying, and you all are going to bow down to me. You're all going to bow down to me. So they already had cause to hate him. Now they hate him even more. His actions seem reasonable to you because it feels like what you also going to do if you were him. It could be. You know, I'm not the youngest brother, so I'm more inclined to not be trying to do all of that. So then he has another dream, and in this dream, it is different because the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bow down. So the sun and the moon. Okay, we have to back up here for a minute, and the promise to Abraham was to be like these stars. His descendants would be like these stars. That's not just about numerous. That is about the rule that they have. So here, it doesn't identify who he is, but he is elevated above the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars. So the 11 stars are clearly his brothers. And the sun and the moon is being interpreted by dad as being mom and dad bowing down. And dad's upset by this one. Okay, so back to the dream. So he has another dream. The sun, moon, and stars are going to bow down to him. Now, don't just think of these as, oh, it's just another way of telling. No. There is something more here about the sun, moon, and stars bowing down to him. Yes, they are representing his family, and we can see that in here. However, the heavenly realm the sun, moon, and stars are thought to correspond to the heavenly realm. So if the sun, moon, and stars are bowing down, there is something more being said here about his elevation to being ruled, not just a familial thing where he's going to be the head of household kind of thing. There is definitely more going on here. So when he told his father and his brothers, his father rebuked him, saying, so here Joseph has gone over the line. Okay, so he has gone over the line. How do we know that he is, or why do I say that he is arrogant? His father has to rebuke him for this. And you can't just simply say, well, he had a dream, he's just telling the dream. Yeah, you can have a dream and tell the dream. And you can tell the dream and say, so I can't wait until all of you bow down to me. It's gonna be glorious. Can you believe it? I get to be the king. I get to be the great poobah. I get to be the El Presidente. Whatever he does. Like, he clearly is telling the story with the interpretation that is being offensive to everybody. So yes, he could simply tell them, hey, I had this dream. What do you think about it? That's not how he's doing it, according to the way that the text and people are responding. He's doing it in such a way as to cause strife. Arrogance is going to cause a lot of strife. So there we have it. And your brother, so his brothers were jealous of him. Why do we have here? Why do we have a footnote on jealous? Joseph's brothers were already jealous of him, but this made them even worse. Such jealousy easily led to action. The next episode in the story shows, yet dreams were considered to be a form of revelation, and their jealousy was not only the favoritism their father had, but of the dream. This is why Jacob kept the matter in mind. So his brothers were jealous of him. Why? Because he's having dreams. They're jealous that they're not having dreams. They're also jealous of what is being stated in the dreams. And their father kept in mind what Joseph said. So he's like, okay, this is what's supposed to happen. It's a dream. Dreams come true. Well, how are we supposed to do this? He is puzzled by it. Like, is your mother and I going to bow down to you too? Like, he gets maybe the brothers, but... Shy, speaking of dreams, you're not kidding. You seriously feel like some points in life now, I feel like you've dreamed this or saw this in a dream when you just toddler, or when you were just a toddler or something, which is really weird. I've had that before in life too. I don't know how to explain that, but I don't know if if it's always a dream or not. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've had that a few times. It's been a while though. So the brothers go out to graze. So we're now we're getting a whole bunch of these things in sequence. Sounds like, oh, they're just the next thing that happens. They're just the next thing that happened. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, what's happening in your life now? You feel like you dreamt it. Yeah, that's what you said. I'm saying I haven't had that for a while, but I know how that is. Like, you feel like you've dreamt them a long time ago. Yep. So the brothers are now gone again, and then, hey, your brothers are gone to Shechem. I'm going to go send you to them. You go and check on the welfare. So what do we have here in the command? To go see the peace of your brothers and the flock and bring me word. So again, you're going to go, you're going to be my snitch. You're going to go and see what they're doing and come back and tell me. Like, when the brothers see him, they already know. They already know that. When he reached Shechem, a man found him wandering in the field, so the man asked him, what were you looking for? This is really weird. A man found him, and look, he was wandering in a field. By the use of vehine and look, the narrator invites the reader to see the action through the eyes of unnamed eyes. So, we're like, did he not know how to find his brothers? Like, he only knew how to go to Shechem. He didn't know how to figure out how to go or to figure out where they were. Why is he not going up and asking people? Why is the story through the eyes of someone who finds him wandering? Why is he not pursuing and finding his brothers and tracking them down? You see what I mean? It's kind of weird here in the story. It's kind of weird that way of someone finds him and has to say, hey, what are you doing? What are you looking for? I'm looking for my brothers. Please tell me where they're grazing. Oh, they left. Oh, I heard them say they're going to Dothan. Okay, this is super weird. I'm just saying, like, if Joseph is all going to be a ruler, a leader, he can't find his brothers when his brothers just went somewhere else, and he's also not inquiring of people. The people have to come to him to inquire. It's really weird. Just saying, it's really weird here. All right, so let's look at Dothan. So this is 37:17. Let's just back up here a minute. Altus, you were bringing up a point of "I am ready" here, is how they're translating it. With the words, Joseph is depicting that he is an obedient son who is ready to do what his father is commanding. 33, Joseph replied. He said, "Here I am." The referent to the pronoun he, Joseph, has been specified for translation. So here I am, or here am I. Here am I. And so it is the phrase that Abraham says when he's going to sacrifice Isaac. So, whoa, I had not seen that before. But in a sense, he gives the reply and then it is carried out. He gives the reply, "Here I am," and he is no longer going to be with his father after this for some time. And then he will be returned to his father from the dead, as it were, later on. So this is, in some ways, the sacrifice of Joseph in a connection there. I've not seen that before. Oh, that is cool. Jazz hands. That's dancing feet for those that do not know. So, in the day that you see something new in Scripture is called a day of dancing. And so in the day that you find something you don't know is also a day for dancing. Because in the day that you discover it, you will dance. And I don't get up and dance, so I just do jazz hands. But we do have dancing feet. So if anyone wants to get the dancing feet emotes, now would be an appropriate time. And yeah, Samuel also has that. Goes to your brothers, and his response is, "I am here," almost as if to say, "You are sacrificing your son," perhaps. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing that. His father knows the brothers hate him. So we were here in the passage with the "I am." We backed up to that. We went a little bit further forward. We were talking about him wandering in the field. And we were going to go look up Dothan. So we're 37:17 is where we were going to go before the raid happened. So Genesis 37, Dothan. So what does Dothan mean?
Strong's H 1886. Dothan. Dothan.
Okay, so Dothan means two wells. It means two wells. So the flock isn't here. The brothers have taken it to two wells. Now, just think about this. They go to two wells. He's going to end up in a cistern. Why does he need to be in a cistern if there are two wells? Huh? What? Why does he need to be in a cistern if there's two wells? Unless you're drawing the water up from there and then putting it there, you know? Also, where else do you see a similar story replaying as before, but in reverse? Brothers who hates another brother, he goes to meet his brother who hates him. Ooh, see an inheritance being threatened, and along the way he meets a stranger, and a father is deceived because of the hatred by the brothers, and they end up being exiled. So you're saying that this is a replay of Jacob and Esau with Joseph and his brothers in reverse? So he meets a man along the way would be the wrestling with a man, if we're doing that, and then you end up into exile from them, running alone. Interesting, yeah. I've not seen that. That's definitely something I would have to look into. The reverse thing is where I'm scratching my head. Because here it's on the way to exile. Yeah, because he only sees the, I'm just trying to think on the way that he leaves the first time to go to, and the wealth piece would come in. Yeah, that's fascinating. I'd not seen that one, that this is this is one of the things that I love. Like, the deeper you dive, the more things you see, the more that's exciting in there that you can find. So, anyway. So going to Dothan, going to two wells. Again, two wells. They shouldn't need a cistern if they're at two wells. His brothers saw him at a distance, and before reached them, they plotted to kill him. Okay, this is one of those things like, if you walk and you see people walking at a distance all the time, you're going to notice something about the stride of a person, the gait that they have, the way that they carry themselves. You'd be able to recognize him. So his brothers recognize him from far off, or maybe the coat is so loud and obnoxious. You know, we always, Technicolor dream coat, if you will. It doesn't say anything about that. It's just a special tunic that we have. I'm not even going to go into that. I don't think it matters. Whatever it is, it's a special gift. It marks him off. So here comes the master of dreams. Let's kill him, throw him into one of the cisterns. Thought it was two wells. One of the cisterns. And then say a wild animal took him. Then we'll see how his dreams turn out. This is the behavior that he has caused his brothers to go towards. Now, I'm not saying his brothers aren't guilty here. I'm saying he contributes to it by the way he treats his brothers. He acts towards his brothers. He acts superior towards his brothers, and he continually taunts them in some manner. Now they see an opportunity. They see an opportunity because the hatred has grown in their heart, and now an opportunity comes. But he never is working towards reconciliation with his brothers that we see in the story. When Reuben hears this, he rescues Joseph from the hand, saying, "Let's not take his life." Reuben continued, "Don't shed blood. Throw him in the cistern that is here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him." Reuben said this so that he could rescue Joseph from them and take him back to his father. Reuben wants to be the rescuer here. He's going to rescue his brother out of the circumstance so he can get back into Dad's good graces, because he already messed up. Remember that part of the story. He messed up. Now we're going to get into some complicated stuff here. Dad's orders weren't to tell his brothers about the dream he had. So, not talking about his showing up here, talking about when he goes and he gives a bad report about his brothers. There's a lot of ways you can do things. Like, "Dad, I don't think they did a good job," or, "Dad, you know what they did? Let me tell you what they did." Okay? There's lots of ways to be obedient, and there's lots of ways to be obnoxious and to be arrogant. And his behavior continuously portrays himself as being arrogant and being superior. And because otherwise his dad's not going to rebuke him for the dream. His dad's going to say, "That's an interesting dream, son." He is rebuked by his dad for the dream. There is something in the way that he is doing things that is out of line. Yeah, you just see he's doing the right thing. Why do they hate him? Because he's doing more than the right thing. He is arrogant. He is rubbing it in their face. He is flaunting. Look at the coat Dad gave me. Look at the coat Dad gave me. I still have the coat Dad gave me. Instead of just, "Oh, well, this is nice, Dad. I really appreciate it. I'll wear it around the house, but when I'm away from you, I won't wear it because I don't want to rub my brother's nose in it." So that's part of, I think, what's going on here. Altus, read it in reverse. Brother wants to steal inheritance. Father is deceived. He hates his brother and plots to kill his brother. His brother flees to another city. Jacob then hears his brother is coming and fears his brother is going to harm him. He gives him gifts, calls him Lord, and bows to him, then reunite. Where is that in the verse? So his father rebuked him. "Are we too, your mother and I, going to bow down to you?" His father rebuked him. That was we already read that, Shai. We read that back in there when he had the dream about the sun, moon, and stars. And we had he brought back a bad report. You could just read it as factual. He just brought a bad report. No, it's probably in the way that he's doing it. Because they hate him because of his behaviors. And it's a culmination of all of these compounding on top of each other. When he sat down to eat food, they looked up and saw a caravan. So here's where it gets a little bit confusing. A caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were carrying spices, balm, and myrrh going down to Egypt. Then Judah says, what profit will it be if we kill our brother and cover up the blood? Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites, okay? The Ishmaelites are coming. Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. But let's not lay a hand on him. His brothers agree. So when a Midianite merchant passes by, where do we get the Midianite? It was said it was Ishmaelites. On the close relatives between Ishmaelites and Midianites, you can go to Judges and see here. A Midianite merchant passes by. Joseph's brothers pull him out of the cistern and sold him to the Ishmaelite for 20 pieces. Wait. Joseph's brothers pull him. What do we have? They. Okay, so they are making the decision that the they is Joseph's brothers. The they can be interpreted as the Midianites. So when the Midianite merchant passed by, the Midianite merchant pulled him out of the cistern and sold him to the Ishmaelites. The referent Joseph's brothers has been supplied. Yes, it has. For translation. Otherwise, the reader might assume that the Midianites had pulled Joseph out of the cistern. Yes, and some translate it that way. Joseph here, and in the following clause, the proper name has been replaced both times for the pronoun him. So, yes, you clearly have Joseph is the one there. In the Hebrew, it's Joseph. So here they're doing the opposite of what they did earlier. For clarity, they're now putting him. But they put Joseph earlier, Joseph's brothers, to clarify that they're the ones. But it says, a Midianite merchant passed by. They, Midianite merchant it could be, pulled him out of the cistern and sold him to the Ishmaelites. That would be why we suddenly have Midianite in here, in addition to the Ishmaelite. Then they took him down to Egypt, and then when he gets to Egypt, it says the Midianites sold him to Potiphar. So we have is it two groups? Is it one group? How is this happening? Is it the brothers that sold, or is it not the brothers that sold? Altus. Also, the term for hate used in brothers is used 3 times in the Torah. You think it's been a while since you took the word satam. Every time it's involved hatred, doesn't want a father to know about the murderous intent. Ooh, wow, I did not know that. The Midianite changing from the Ishmaelite, which confuses people. I thought it was a Midianite, is Ishmaelite. Oh, well, they're related. So they're just interchanging there. There's other people that read this as like proof that, hey, see, these are 2 different stories. They get conflated together. There's 2 different authors. They're overlapping the stories. Maybe it was told one way with Ishmaelites, and later it was told with Midianites, and they've merged them together, but they kept both names in there when it got written down. Don't get concerned with those kinds of things. Is there a discrepancy here? Doesn't matter. His brother is sold. Now, one of the things that they can do is look at the text there, which is one of the ways to do it, and it is the Midianites is the they who pull him out of the pit and sell him to the Ishmaelites. So the brothers are off completely with having actually done the selling. I don't know if that's necessary. There's some reasons why people would like it that way, as opposed to, but later on, whether they did it and they got the 20 pieces, or the Midianites did it and they got the 20 pieces, it does not matter. His brothers are still guilty of it. This time he is sent to his brothers to check on them. And so we have that. So we have the selling here. Who's exactly selling? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But there were 2 cisterns, right? So they're in the cistern that had no water, at the place called 2 wells. There should be water in there. Why is there no water? I mean, are we supposed to also be reading something here about the spiritual lives of his brothers? The absence of living water or life-giving water there, why would they have taken the sheep there to a place that has a dry cistern? It's called 2 wells, but is there actually 2 wells there? Or is it a cistern that gets filled up and then they just called it 2 wells? Kind of how Greenland is called green when it's covered with ice, to get people to come there. Is it 2 cisterns, which they mention, and not 2 wells, but they call it 2 wells, calling it 2 cisterns to attract people there. And one of them is bone dry, apparently, because he's thrown in there. Maybe the other one is. So later Reuben shows up. Where was Reuben? Reuben wants to be the hero and rescue his brother, throw him in the pit. Why isn't he keeping an eye on him? They're overeating, and he finds out his brother's gone, and now he tears his clothes and said, the boy isn't there. And the boy isn't there. And where can I go? He can't show up home. Like, he is supposed to protect his brother. He already is at odds with dad. How's he going to show up home? So they took Joseph's tunic, killed a young goat, and dipped the tunic in the blood. And then they brought the special tunic to their father and said, look what we found. Determine if it's your son's or not. So I love how they put the pressure on dad to ID the tunic instead of saying we found it and he was dead and we brought this. We just found it. We don't know. Kind of. But Reuben discovers that he's not there. So is Reuben away from his brothers? If he's trying to protect them, protect Joseph from his brothers, wouldn't he be keeping an eye on his brothers? So this does lend to the idea that the Midianites took him out of the pit and sold him, and not his brothers, because maybe he was keeping an eye on his brothers, so now he finds out he's gone, and now is a problem. Well, if that's the case, if he doesn't know he's sold, wouldn't he also think, hey, there's a possibility that he managed to escape? I don't know. Or if Judah is saying, we're going to sell him, why didn't Reuben protest then if Reuben was there? So it really lends itself more to Reuben not being around. Otherwise, there's a lot of things like, why didn't Reuben hear this? Why didn't Reuben see this? Why does he just discover it? And we don't have the brothers going, oh, no, where did he go? So it does lend towards they know this is what happened. Okay. Altus, Joseph says, you brothers who sold me to Egypt, but they didn't sell him to the Egyptians. So Joseph seems to put the blame on the brothers because they put him in the well. They didn't need to sell him to be guilty, but they could have. Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to lead towards. It doesn't matter if they did the actual selling or not. They created the circumstances by which the situation happened. Deception using the goat and the coat. Where else? Oh, yeah. Jacob and Esau. We absolutely have that reverse, where Jacob deceives his father, and now Jacob is deceived. We have the replay of the stories of the patriarchs in each other's lives. So we have Isaac repeating and going back to the places where Abraham took place. And we have Jacob's life doubling back on itself of what he did coming back to him. What he reaps what he sows. He reaps what he sows. Shiny Penny, good morning. Okay, see if we can finally finish this chapter. This chapter is so long and filled with so many things. So we have the tearing of the cloak. Here it is. Here's the evidence. And you'll be right back? Okay. He recognized and exclaimed, it's my son's tunic. A wild animal has eaten him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces. Then Joseph tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, and mourned for his son for many days. All his sons and daughters stood by him to console him, but he refused to be consoled. No, he said, I will never be consoled. I will go to the grave mourning for my son. And then we get a little, now in Egypt, the Midianites sold Joseph to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard. Okay, the Masoretic text, the name of the merchant, Midian, rather than Midianites. It is likely the letter Yod has accidentally been omitted in the Masoretic text. The Septuagint, Vulgate, Samaric, and Syriac read Midianites here. Some prefer to read Midianites, both here and in verse 28, but Judges 8, which identifies the Midianites and Ishmaelites, favor the reading of Midianites. The Midianites, that's interesting. I don't think I've noticed that one before. I'm not going to spend any time on that one. All right. The story of Joseph, history repeating itself. Yes, this is a wild story. Not only did they sell their brother, but they also had no issue causing emotional harm to their family. Well, on some level, yeah. But jealousy leads down a path that they went down. So their jealousy leads them to sell their brother, because if we get rid of him, how can this possibly come true? Now, let's just pause for a minute. Is there another way in which God can bring this about to have happen? Yes, there absolutely is. I also think on some level, and Shai, this is where you may totally disagree, others may as well. Joseph is arrogant. He is contributing to his brother's hatred towards him. He doesn't do things to reconcile his brothers. He doesn't do things to regard them in a different way. We have nothing in the text that says that, but we have hints to the fact that he brags about when he has a dream, like you're going to bow down to me. Isn't that going to be cool? Because his dad has to rebuke him for the way he is presenting the dream. So he could have tried to reconcile, say, hey, I don't know what this means. I mean, it clearly has that element in there, and he contributes to the resentment of his brothers and the jealousy they have. He could have tried to appease their jealousy. He could have tried to soothe their jealousy. We don't see any actions that does that. So if his brothers don't sell him, is there still something he has to learn? Yeah, he still needs to learn humility. And that's what the whole journey is going to be from now on as we go forward. He is being humbled by his brothers because he needs to be humbled in order for God to use him. He is indeed going to be used by God, and God could have used any other way to bring him to a place of humility. Or Joseph could have realized and learned it himself. So the circumstances by which his brothers set in motion, God uses to bring to a point of humility. So once he has fully gained that humility and the time is needed for Joseph to lead, he is prepared. He is prepared. It could have been a different pathway if he had a different relationship with his brothers and he was a different person. But that's how I see the aspects unfolding there. And I know not everybody sees it that way. Like, if they just take the whole of Joseph's story, and because Joseph rescues his brothers in the end, he is a good person the whole way through. I don't see it that way. I see him as a growing and changing person. He is three-dimensional. In fact, even when we get to the point where his brothers come in and he is deceiving them, he is testing them, yes. But does he want them to pass the test? Does he want to test them to find out if they are who they were? Because he has vengeance, and he has planned vengeance that he has held on to for all of this time. And if his brothers are still the same scoundrels they were, he is going to punish them severely. Is that the outcome if his brothers haven't passed the test? So, Shai. I think he only started his dream because it felt weird for him and asking for advice. You don't know. Well, and that could be. It could be. You're off to teach ASL. Have a wonderful day. He is the youngest of them. Yes, but he's also 17. Most 17-year-olds believe the world revolves around them. So I'm absolutely reading into it that he's a young 17-year-old, and he should have lots of responsibility and taking on things. And but he's like, see, I'm going to be the best, and he's got to find humility before God uses him in a mighty way.